Good afternoon and welcome to OmniBros Live. I'm Omnidog. I'm your host, one of your hosts. We've got a full boat of hosts right now. This is OmniBros Live. I'm Omnidog. I already said all that. And we are broadcasting live on a Sunday. And we have special guests with us today. Our guest is the writer of Grief, the amazingly, absolutely fantastic first work of Frank Gogol. Frank, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I got some coffee, so yeah, we're off to a good start.
That's right. This is Coffee with the OmniBros. And speaking of OmniBros, today we have with us Gio from Near Mint Condition. I'm botching it up. I need coffee. Gio, where are you from?
Week in Geekdom. Hey, everybody. Hi, Frank. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody in the chat. It's a pleasure to be here on this fine Sunday.
Okay, I am just going to say names, and you tell me where you're from because we've got too many people in the chat. Luis, where are you from?
I am from Comics God 101, and I am massively hungover today.
Nice. We're lucky we got you.
Not the only one.
Yeah, last night was AEW, so I'm like really hungover. I was up late last night.
What
was it? AEW?
What's AEW?
AEW, All Elite Wrestling. It premiered last night. So
is it a live thing or did you watch it on television?
It's a pay-per-view event.
And that's something you get drunk for?
Oh yeah.
You don't need an excuse to get drunk.
Well, that's a good point. So you're talking to a guy that knows exactly what you mean. And that was Gabe. Gabe, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see everybody. Good to see Frank. Me and Frank hung out a little bit at Chicago C2E2 earlier this year. And I got this super cool shirt, Jess. What do you think of it? Look at the shirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
got to show my love and respect to Nightfall.
No, that's a spite shirt. You put it on just to spite me.
I put it on because it fits me now, that's for sure. But yeah, I bet Jess will get a kick out of this shirt.
I get a kick out of the fact that you wore it just to spite me. I like that.
Yeah. I think about you every time I put a shirt on. I go, because we have a lot of the same shirts. And sometimes I'm like, I wonder if me and Jess are one day just going to end up wearing the same outfit.
Well, that's true. You do turn me on to a lot of cool shirts. That's definitely true. I wouldn't be surprised if we do wear the same shirt sometime.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, we need to talk about our sponsor. That's InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add an extra 2% to that. There will be soon coming up an Omnibroslive discount code. Live in the United States and order $50 or more in an order. That gets you free shipping, dudes and dudettes. Can you believe it? Fabulous service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com. So, Frank.
I can't remember the last time I heard somebody say dudette.
You can count it as today.
That's a throwback for sure.
There is a new comic book that you are writing, a new series called Dead End Kids.
Yes.
And you sent us the files for it, so we got a chance to get our hands on the first issue. And those kids are disaffected kids. So why don't you? I mean, I that definitely came across in the first issue. So why don't you give us a little synopsis on the kids and where maybe a description of it and where you want to go with this book.
All right. So Dead End Kids, sort of the elevator pitch is 3 kids in the late 90s are trying to solve their friend's murder. So think Stand By Me meets the Hardy Boys, but a lot darker, with a little more violence, kind of the Frank Gogol version of those. The story was really born of 2 things. The first was about a year and a half ago, I turned 30 and got nostalgic, I guess. Sort of started remembering hanging out with my friends, building clubhouses, being in before the streetlights, all that stuff. But then I started remembering sort of how bad things were as a kid. Like I didn't have a great home life. The kids I grew up with didn't have good home lives either. And that's sort of how we sort of fell in with one another, and sort of relied on one another to take care of each other when we had bad days and stuff like that. And at that same time, I was sort of interested in trying writing a coming of age story, sort of like a Sandlot, kids meet and sort of solve each other's problems, kind of, and then go their separate ways. It's the Sandlot, that's the Breakfast Club. Stand By Me has that too. But that wasn't super honest to sort of my experience growing up. Like I'm still best friends with all my best friends. Like my best man in my wedding in September is one of those kids I grew up with. So like when you get the little montage at the end of Stand By Me, where you find out one of them grew up to be a really successful lawyer and got stabbed in the neck at a McDonald's and, never talked to the kids again. Like it always felt sort of like dishonest, or at least to my experience. So I wanted to sort of funnel that into this sort of inverted take on the coming of age story where the kids do sort of stick together. But they have to go through these sort of very sort of traumatic shared experiences to sort of earn that lifelong bond, if that makes sense.
I don't remember that some kid got stabbed in the lot of McDonald's.
That's
funny.
like at the end you get the little montage.
Oh.
So it's like a picture and like some text about what happened to each kid. I think it may be narrated in Stand By Me, but the one who's like the troublemaking kid,
Yeah.
like, he like grows up to be like a really successful lawyer and like totally beats the odds. And then you find out he tried to like stop a fight at a McDonald's and got stabbed in the neck and died.
Oh, well, that's a life lesson. If there's a fight in a McDonald's, you should write a comic book about that.
I don't think anyone should be shopping at McDonald's personally.
That's what I was going to say. That's what you get for eating at McDonald's. You're either going to get, diabetes or a shiv in the neck.
Yeah, no. Fight at McDonald's, you run the other way across the street to Arby's for sure. So this is a completely different direction than Grief obviously was. Now my upbringing, sounds like it was different than yours, but that doesn't mean I can't relate to what it's every kid, no matter how good their upbringing is going to have their bad days where they think grown-ups don't understand them, because grown-ups don't understand them.
Sure.
I mean, I'm a parent. I didn't understand my daughter at certain points. She's 28 years old, and there's still certain points where I shake my head and I go, what the hell is she thinking? And I'm sure my parents, I know my parents when I was 23, when I was not even a teenager, when I was a grown adult, shook their heads and said, is he out of his mind? What's going on there? So everybody goes through those particular times. How many issues is this going to be?
It's going to run for 3 issues. I wanted to keep it sort of short and affordable on my end, creating it, but also not very many people know who I am. So for them to sort of take a chance on a comic by somebody they've not heard of or don't know much about, I wanted to keep it like economical, and 2 issues was too short and 4 issues felt too long.
Okay. And where did you find your artist for this?
This is the same art team from Grief, or some of this art team from Grief. It's Nenad Savitikainen, who did 5 or 6 of the stories in Grief, and Sean Reinhardt, who did all the letters. This time around, Nenad's doing all the art and colors. So it was a pretty streamlined process. I knew these guys already. I liked working with them. In the back of my mind, I was probably writing it for them, and sort of hoping that it would work out, that we could work together. Nenad's a very good drama artist. Like that's what he likes drawing. He doesn't like spaceships and aliens and stuff like that. So when I knew that this would sort of be like a more grounded book, it's a murder mystery, but it's a drama. He was always in the back of my mind. And then Sean is my regular letterer. I think I've used one other letterer one other time. He just gets it. He's really an artist, like on a level that I think other letterers aren't. And when we talk about what we want for a book, and it's very much a shared vision.
And does this feel cathartic at all to you at any level that you get to, since you said that since you didn't have a good childhood and your friends were in similar situations, does this give you any sense of any relief at all, or any little bit of closure, or any sense of catharsis at being able to put pen to paper and writing it down?
Yeah, I think on some level, like I got a lot of that when I was writing Grief. Like that's a little more autobiographical at times. But even with this, it's just, like I think any reflecting on anything from, your past, whether it's your childhood or, a past relationship or whatever, it's always a little bit cathartic. Like if you can spend some time with it and like really think about it and sort of look back on how it's changed you and how you've grown, like, of course, I think, yeah, that's cathartic. The story isn't like particularly autobiographical, so I think I was channeling some stuff into it that, I remembered that I'd forgotten when I started getting nostalgic about a year and a half ago. Like, I can't even think of a good example, but just like, like those little moments, like hanging out in like a clubhouse you built with your friends, like you don't think too much about it at the time, but then you get older and you're sort of, it comes back to you, and then it's a good memory, sort of nuzzled into a bad situation, or at least that was my experience. But like I try to be balanced and sort of take the good with the bad in life. That's just, it's working well for me.
I have some promotion and sales questions. Are there any questions you guys have about the comic book itself you'd like to ask him?
No.
Well, Frank, I kind of wanted to ask you, like when I've always fantasized or daydreamed about writing stories, and I'm always fascinated by the process of creating new characters. And I wanted to ask you, what was, if you can share with us, your process when coming up with new characters for a brand new story and how to make them relatable to new readers?
Sure. I think there's a lot to sort of unpack there, so I'll try to give you like a high level view. I always start with like a character change, like what I want to happen to the character at the end of the story. So I sort of work backwards. So I can't really talk about it too much without giving away the ending of the book.
Okay.
But there's a character change for the main character, Murphy. It could be good or bad, but like I knew that I wanted him to be in this really tough situation, and I wanted it to change him in this way. So I said, what story would sort of support that arc? Like how do we get there? It's almost like planning a road trip. Like you want to drive from New York to Florida. You're going to Florida, so you work backwards and you figure out the routes that you want to take to get there. Not anymore, because we don't use maps anymore, but so like that's sort of step one. I'm sort of a believer that like story it's like it leads me, not the other way around, in a weird way. But I try to fight back on that a little bit. So like a good example of that is like all the characters who aren't the main characters in my story are sort of like part of the set. Like they all serve a purpose, either to contradict the main character or to disagree with them or to support them and like help them like think of like Star Wars is Luke Skywalker's story, right? And Obi-Wan's there to get him off of Tatooine, and Han's there to get him to the Death Star, and Leia's there to sort of give him something to fight for. Like, I mean, every person in that story is there to support Luke's story in one way or another. So when I create characters, I say, what does this story need to get me to that end game? And then I build up characters, but I don't want them to sort of be cardboard, right? So like I give them backstory and personality, and like one of the things I really try to do is give characters like meaningful backstory. So like if I was writing a horror movie, I would want it to be that every time somebody died, you cared about that person, which is something that almost no horror movies do. So I mean, like that's sort of like a high level look at like how I would go about it.
Gotcha.
And let me ask you this, Frank. So you said this is a book that takes place during the 90s, which is I'm a huge fan of the 90s and a child of the 90s and everything. And that's one of the cool things about movies like Stand By Me and The Sandlot is, and even things like Paper Girls that takes place in the 80s and Stranger Things, is kind of like the throwbacks, the callbacks, and the references to the things that happened in the 90s. How much of that stuff is actually in this book, would you say? What did you put in there?
That was one of those things where, like I said, it was sort of two things coming together. I was feeling nostalgic for like my childhood in the late '90s and early 2000s, and sort of wanting to tell this kind of story. So like, it was a product of the needs of the story again. Like one of the characters, Amanda, the female in the cast, her mom is a Y2K nut, like a low key Y2K nut. Well,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, and like so when I was designing her character and sort of like rounding her out, I was like, well, what can I sort of pull from the time period to sort of give this person sort of a tragic bent, something to care about, something to feel for them. And I was like, well, it's 1999. This is what's happening in 1999. Let me see if I can incorporate that. And then there are other little things in there. Like I want to point out like most of the visual stuff that is in there. There's Amanda's bedroom is I think the second or third page, and there's so many little 90s references in there that I have lost count, and that's almost entirely Nanad. The stuff that's in the script, like there's some Blink-182 lyrics on one of the pages, and like Amanda's mom being a Y2K person, like that's all me. But like I'd say I left most of it in Nanad's hands, and he's a little bit older than me, so he remembers the 90s a little more clearly than me. And he just he nailed it. Like, and he really walked a fine line. Like you can really overdo stuff like that and have it be almost like a caricature of the 90s because it's so 90s. But I felt like when I was reading the finished pages, he just I felt like I was reading story set in the 90s, and it wasn't like boom in your face 90s.
I remember reading those lyrics, and it brought me right back to hating that song.
I don't like it anymore. As a child, it was very catchy.
You're now when we were talking before the show, we were talking about TSA pre-check and how much you fly. I remember seeing you at Baltimore last year, and I was very interested, and then that was for promotion for Grief. Mm-hmm. So now you're going to be doing promotion for this book for Dead End Kids, and I'm just wondering what goes into the promotion for this book. Are you? I guess this is kind of a multi-part question. Are you doing pre-promotion, and then once it comes out, you're doing promotion for the whole thing? And then what does that entail as far as how many cons you go to, how many comic shops you go to? It sounds like kind of a grueling schedule for your weekends. We really had to fit you in. There was only 2 choices for weekends that we could fit you in.
Yeah. So for me, conventions are not mutually exclusive with promotion. I do conventions because I like working conventions, which if you ask a lot of other pros is utter insanity. But SourcePoint Press is a really good publisher, and they do a lot to make it easy for me to do cons. So your average creator has to fly to wherever they're going or drive. They have to pay for their table. They have to pay for their hotel. They have to pay for their meals. Like, I mean, it's very expensive to work a convention if it's not like within an hour of your house. So like you're talking like $1,000 a show, maybe even more. Like, flights aren't cheap. Like for me to go to the East Coast, it's about $600. And then like $300 for a table on top of that and a hotel. Like, I mean, it's not cheap. So what SourcePoint does is it's very much like being in a punk band. We all get ourselves to wherever we're going, and sometimes that means riding along with one another or flying out. But the publisher puts us up in a hotel room or an Airbnb and pays for the booth space. The exchange there is we work the booth and sell the product, which is mutually beneficial, right? I get royalties when I sell my book, but they get their cut, and it's very synergetic, and it's not something I've seen at any other publisher. Most other publishers, you don't see the creators unless there's like a signing or something. At every SourcePoint Press convention, which there are about 60 every year, sometimes it's in 3 cities on the same weekend. It's the people who created the book or friends of the people who created the book who have created other books on the table, and it's a really good relationship. It's not amazing. Like we eat like garbage food sometimes. Like sometimes we don't eat. It's sometimes 2 and 3 people to a bed or sleeping on a floor. Like, like I said, it's like being in a punk band. Like you make it work. But I think the benefit is like way higher than like the cost, for me at least. Like I don't mind, flying myself out there if it's going to be like, that much easier for me. And I get to hang out with my friends and network. Like, I mean, there are a lot of things you can't put a price on too. Like getting to see Gabe at Chicago or seeing you at Baltimore, like, making friends and that kind of stuff. So like cons for me aren't necessarily part of the promotion. It's part of the job, like getting out there and meeting people and making fans. So like, for example, C2E2 this year was my second time doing it. I worked it last year. I sold Grief. I think we sold like 70 copies of Grief. And people came back this year and asked me if I had something new. Like, and that's another one of the things you can't put like a price on, like, building a fan and retaining that fan. For Dead End Kids right now, it's my first full go at like doing a full marketing campaign for a book. And I'm really just trying a lot of different stuff. I've cold called like close to 1,000 shops, which has had varying levels of success. I'm doing cons and handing out postcards and just sort of grassroots. No, like I said, I'm just trying lots of different things. The most exciting thing I think is when the first issue comes out, I'm going to start a 5-week sort of West Coast signing tour. I'm still in the process of putting it together, so it's not like officially announced, but 5 cities: Seattle, Portland, sort of the San Francisco Bay Area where I live, LA, and San Diego. And I'm going to do 3 or 4 shops in a weekend for 5 weekends or 6 weekends straight. And that's sort of been a lot of fun because like Source Point Press is really interested in putting down like relationships with shop owners and meeting people, and I'm one of the only people on the website. So it's a unique opportunity, but it's also like exciting. It's also expensive. So like I said, it's sort of like you can't measure some of the returns on some of that stuff. I don't know if that actually answers the question.
It does. It answers it completely, that you have got to be willing to pound the pavement to go out and promote your book. It is a lot of hard work. It's a passion project. This is not some type of hobby. I mean, this is really real work that you have to be really dedicated to, and really be willing to put in the hours. I mean, putting in 1,000 cold calls to call comic shops, that takes a certain type of person to be able to do that. It's one thing to man a booth and sell your comic, but to cold call comic shops to sell your comic, that takes some balls, and my hat's off to you for that. That's a difficult job.
That's a lot of work. I know, because I get a lot of cold calls myself from people, and I'm sure there's a lot of comic shops out there that aren't as friendly as I am on the phone and probably just brush you off or hang up on you or just kind of give you the runaround. But that seems to be the style for Source Point in general. Like Dirk was very much about, keeping it real, and it's all about the hustle. And that seems to kind of be the foundation of this publisher company altogether. Is really, we can only go as far as we're willing to go. We go as far as we can, and we live and die on our own backs.
No, that's 100% the truth. And I part of the reason that I think I fit in there so well over the last year and change is because I've got that same attitude. Like, the editor-in-chief, Travis, he does not take one dime from this company. Like, and all his hours are volunteer because he wants to see it be successful. And like the hustle is real. You mentioned Casey, and Casey is a real hustler. And we've probably got about 100 creators in the stable. I'd say about 20% of those people like are like at shows every weekend or every other weekend, really hustling and pushing the books. But the support network is just gigantic. And like when I got brought on, I got like a sales boot camp from Casey that first weekend in Chicago last year. This is how you sell a book. Now go put it in people's hands. And like, there's just all these little built-in things, and like, it's growing. Like, the network is growing, shops know who we are. And it's because you have a bunch of people who are really committed to this idea of making themselves successful, but also the company. Is sort of a rising tide raises all ships kind of mentality.
How did you go about finding your artists? Because I'm pretty sure there's probably people even in the Facebook group and stuff like that they want to write, but they don't have the artistic skills and they don't know where to find a solid artist.
Sure. I have found artists several different ways that sort of stand out. Nanad, who drew Dead End Kids and did Half of Grief with me, I found on Reddit. There's a subreddit called Comic Book Collabs, and it's entirely devoted to people meeting up and exchanging, art and writing and that kind of stuff. So I've definitely found a few people there. I learned to write comics with the Comics Experience online school that Andy Schmidt started. He's a former Marvel editor who sort of wanted to take his passion for teaching and sort of help comics be a more accessible career path for people. And they have online forums that are part of their program. So I've met a few people through there. One of the colorists I work with, Emily Elmer, she was on there. Sean Reinhardt, who does my letters, I met him there. So sort of small communities, honestly. So there's a couple Facebook groups. There's a lot of Facebook groups. I think most of them aren't very good. It's a lot of people aren't very serious. There are a couple that are very good, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I can definitely let you know what they are. But yeah, it's just online mostly. That's the world we live in. Now that I'm doing conventions and meeting other people and networking, like I have more opportunities to meet people in person and connect that way. But I'd say it's 50-50 still.
No, the last time I saw you, Frank, was like I said, was at C2E2, and we'll kind of take I'll step this off the topic of Dead End Kid for a second, but I still want to give you a good congratulations because I know you are in the process of buying a really big book, like a nice Holy Grail book, right?
Yes, sir.
What's the story
let's hear
behind that? Yeah, give us the story on that real quick, man.
So I don't collect a lot of comics anymore. I still buy a few weekly books and I buy my friends' books, but I generally have sort of backed off just because it's a space thing and a money thing. Making comics isn't cheap. But I do have a mostly complete run of Fantastic Four. And one of the books that I was missing was Fantastic Four #1. And I found a pretty good deal on a slab copy. It's like a 1/5, so it's not a great copy, but it is signed by Stan Lee. And it is, official, definitely his authorized, verified signature. And I found a shop that does layaway. So I can pay in installments and sort of chip away at this gigantic price tag over a course of time rather than paying it all up front. And I was feeling pretty good at C2E2. We announced Dead End Kids, and I was like, you know what, Frank, you deserve a little something. So I bought Fantastic Four #1, and in about a year, I will own it.
And what will you do with it when you finally get it?
I don't know.
You gonna display it? You gonna put it in a safe deposit box? You gonna put it behind glass?
I'll probably find some way to display it. I just recently found out that the IKEA Billy shelves have sort of an attachment that's it's like a metal rack that you can sort of put on a diagonal, so it things display on a slant. So I think I'll probably run through my Billies and add those to all 8 shelves and sort of put out some of my key books. I also just bought Avengers #1 when I was in Houston for Comics Palooza.
Yeah.
Man, you're going on a tear, dude. Nice.
Yeah, well, I got my royalties check from Grief, and it was like a little bit more than what the cost of the book was. It was like, well, yeah, when I'm going to have the pocket money like this again, probably never. So I jumped on it.
Sweet.
It was part of the hustle. Like I was over at a booth talking to a comic shop that has 6 locations in Texas, and I was trying to meet them and tell them about the book, and that was, it was a bargaining chip of sorts. I was able to call those 6 shops, and they definitely ordered more than a couple of the book each. So
nice.
There were more than small returns on that for me.
Was that what store was that? Is that Lone Star?
Bedrock.
Oh, Bedrock. Okay, yeah, we have business with them. Cool.
Yeah, they're good people.
I think it needs to be pointed out that sales and creativity are two completely different sides of the brain.
Left side, right side.
Yeah, and that to have put those two together like you have, is really rare, and I think that's kind of a tough thing for SourcePoint to want somebody to do. Obviously, they're successful at doing it because you're doing it, but to get somebody creative, whether it's an artist or a writer, to get out there and sell their own book or sell their own art, that is a difficult task to master.
Yeah, but it's essential. Like if you make the world's best comic book and you can't tell people about it, it doesn't matter. No one's ever going to see it. It's not the world's best comic book.
Yeah.
Like, so you got to be able to do both. And one of the things I said early on when I started writing comics was that I'm either going to do this and give it 110%, or I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste my time. Like, it's the Leslie Knope, or Ron Swanson rather, don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing.
Yeah.
So I every year I give myself sort of like a very high level thing that I want to be better at. So the first year I was doing comics, it was writing comics. The second year it was working conventions and selling comics, and I really just put my focus in on those things. So now, subjectively, I can write a good comic book and I can put that comic book in people's hands and sell it. So this year I asked myself, what's the next step? Upping my networking game, my marketing game, and then next year I'll tackle some other thing, or maybe I'll go back to something and try and see how I can improve there. But it's just like going to the gym. Like, it's baby steps. You start with a 5-pound weight, and then you do a 10-pound weight, and then you do a 50-pound weight. You work your way up and you build the muscles. Making comics and selling comics and networking, it's the same deal. It's baby steps, one step at a time. Master one skill and then move on to the next, and just keep getting better.
I know you're not in the YouTube chat, but somebody just posted something for you. Paulie P said, can't stick around, but had to pop in to say, Frank is the man. I'm totally jumping on anything he writes. Much love to Frank and the OmniBros. So there you go.
Thank you.
Also, for those in the chat, I the link to a preview of Dead End Kids. So there is a link there that everybody can check out the first couple of pages. You can see the artwork is actually really good for a. I don't want this to sound bad, but like a nobody, like somebody that's not
somebody's not established.
Yeah, somebody who's obviously this is some early work of theirs, but it's polished, it looks professional, and it looks like something that can continue on into many different avenues down the way. Like, this can easily be an image book by the art style and the coloring, and of course just the skills of Frank's writing in it as well. It's really good too. So
you guys get a chance, look back at the last story in Grief, Embrace. That was my first work with Nanad, and the difference between the first pages of this book and that story from 2.5 years ago, it's night and day. Like, the guy is just leaps and bounds, and he's just getting better every day.
I remember that story being pretty moving.
I like that story a lot. I still think it's probably the best thing I've ever written.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to beat it. I'm just trying to do as good.
Good.
Yeah, because I remember SourcePoint at the Diamond Summit last weekend, or whenever that was. Yeah, the hustle game is strong, and they left with nothing. They handed out every single comic that was there. I got a copy of Grief from them because Casey is really cool. Like I was saying earlier, Casey's great. Josh and Dirk are all maniacs and really cool people too. And that's something that goes really far. Like we were saying earlier, it's hard to find somebody who's creative and is willing to do the hustle, but is also personable. It takes a lot of coming out of your shell to sell your book and to talk to strangers and to try and convince strangers to buy something, especially retailers. Retailers are really tight and stingy when it comes down to their shelf space. and things like that. So trying to convince a retailer to take any kind of chance on something new goes really far. So
Yeah,
that seems to be like, you know, your guys' style, and that's important.
yeah. No, like I said, it's I personally chose that to go all in on it. Like that was my like mantra for a long time. Like I need to be good at this. This is the next step. And that's not to say that some people at Source Point aren't introverted or haven't been in the past. And that's like a testament to the people who are there. Like, yeah, there are definitely some people who have watched grow leaps and bounds in the last year who couldn't sell their book. One person literally got so nervous that they threw up trying to sell their book. I won't name names.
You could name names. It was me. I would definitely do that. If I had to go out there and try and sell my work, I would be throwing up.
Yeah, and you know what? It was one of the best writers, like objectively one of the best writers Source Point has. And now I worked a convention with him or her a couple weeks ago and sold out. Took the advice, took the coaching, and nailed it. And probably sold more books than me now.
That's great to know.
That reminds me of my early days when I was a waiter, and it was just really hard for me to come out of my shell to talk to people and take orders and things like that. But kind of like in your guys' case, it sounds very reminiscent to my old days of being a waiter, is you can only make as much money as you're willing to do. Like the harder you work, the more you're going to get out of it. And that seems to be the same thing with trying to sell your indie books as well.
Oh, that's 100% true. Yeah, it's the old Wayne Gretzky, like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And a convention is literally thousands of people. So, you know, you're not going to get them all, but if you don't try, you're going to get 0 of them. And if they say no, who gives a shit? Oh, can I swear?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah, we say
oh my God.
Yeah, we say motherfucker all the time on this show. This might as well be called the Motherfucker Bros.
Yeah,
Okay.
You should see it on a Monday night. Holy smoke.
I'm going to get you guys t-shirts that say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Omar would wear it in a second.
Yeah. Speaking of t-shirts, not only is the link to Frank's book in the description, but so is the link to our new t-shirts, our new Raw Shark t-shirts. So, so take a second to plug that real quick. That was a good segue.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Is this your full-time gig, Frank? Like just totally just pushing your book or what?
No. So like Jess was saying earlier, like you guys sort of had to jump through some hoops to schedule me this morning. And that's because I work a full-time daytime job from 10 to 6, Monday through Friday. And it's at a startup. It's like a tech company. So it's definitely not just those 40 hours. But I get up at about 5 o'clock every morning. And that's when I write and I do my emails and do comics business stuff and, you know, get that stuff rolling. And then I go to work at about 9. I leave for work. I get there about 10, get home at about 7. And then it's comics again and, you know, nurturing the relationship with the fiance and you know, life. But most weeks I am leaving like Friday night on a red eye to go somewhere to work a con, especially like between March and October. It's probably every other week or so. So like we have Monday off from work because of Memorial Day here in the US. I'll go into work until Thursday. Thursday night, I'll fly out for Denver. I'll work Denver for 3 days, come back late on Sunday night. I'll go back to work on Monday. And then I have another show next weekend and it'll be the same thing. I'll fly out late on Thursday or Friday, come back. Like I haven't had an actual day off probably since Emerald City. No, there's always something to do.
Wow. Well, what shows you got coming up? Because I know, yeah, like you said, between March and October, it's basically comics. It's convention season.
Yeah. So,
what shows are you going to be seeing you at?
I got Denver this weekend. I think I actually am off for a week in June, but I've got Ace Comic Con up in Seattle. I've got Sundial Bridge, which is a smaller one in Redding, California. Then I'll be at SuperCon, something con in Miami over 4th of July, and that one's a long one. It's 4 days. And then in July, I've got San Diego. In August, right now on the schedule, I've got Boston and Toronto. I think one of those is going to get the axe just because I might need a week off, but we'll see. Then New York. Grief is in the running for a nomination for best anthology at the Ringos. So if that happens, I'll be
Ooh.
in Baltimore.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
guys
man.
go,
Good
vote,
luck. Awesome.
everyone go vote. And then after Baltimore, there's a San Francisco con, so that's like home for me, so I don't have to worry too much about that. But it's like nonstop.
There's a question in the chat. Are you doing Terrificon in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun Casino?
I personally am not, but Source Point Press will be there. Probably Ben Goldsmith, who writes some book for us. It's called Seance Room, and he's got a new book that's done entirely in tattoo art. That's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
So if you are at Terrificon, I will not be there this year, but Ben will be probably, and you should definitely go check him out and check out the Source Point Press stuff.
Yeah, because they hustle everybody's book. It's not just their own. You know,
Yeah.
that you're literally there. You literally are working for the company. Like you're selling everybody's book. It seems.
Yeah,
like.
no, it's a job. You know, like we pair up. Like Case and I sell really well together. Her book Nora and Grief have sold really well together. So we sort of alley-oop one another. Like I'll pull somebody in to write. I can sort of look at somebody and sort of be like, they might not like Grief. And I'll say, hey, come check out Nora. Casey's right here. She wrote it, and we'd love to tell you about it. And it's very, like I said, I just keep using the word synergy, but that's, it's not a group. It's like a well-oiled team.
Okay, cool. I think this has been good. We've learned a heck of a lot.
Well, happy
You guys have any finishing up questions?
I just wanted to talk about some source point stuff real quick. Like I said, I talked about it last week while I was at the summit. One of Casey's books I got was Sayers, which is really good. This is a really fun book. Yeah. Sayers.
I did a variant cover for that. It was my first cover art that I've ever done, and it's better than the regular cover.
Oh, it's better than this cover? Yeah?
No,
nice.
that's JJ Cott, and JJ Cott is, you'll know his name in a couple of years for sure.
Yeah, it's great artwork in there. A lot really good. I'm hooked on this really quick because there's some crazy stuff going on, and I'm like, I want to know what's happening next with this like dragon. And then there's an ad in here for her Nora book as well, which they ran out of at the Diamond Summit. I was really hoping to get one. They ran out because they hustle hard.
In July, I think, or June. It's coming out soon.
Yeah. Your book Grief. Everybody go check that out. This is the one that's up for the Ringo Award. So do your vote on that as well. Hope from Dirk. That's his Hope number 2. This is about a mom who is moonlights as a superhero as well. And then I got a couple issues of Orc. So these are really fun too. So a lot of good stuff out there. I hope to see you at San Diego, bro. I'll be out there.
I will be there.
We'll have to shave out some time, and I'll hang out with you and the rest of the Source Point guys. You know, get a couple drinks and do the San Diego thing.
Are you coming out to New York?
I won't be. I think Torpedo will be at New York. We should hopefully be on unveiling some massive Golden Age collection at New York.
Ooh.
Nice.
So we'll see, but I probably won't be at that one. My next convention will be San Diego for sure.
Okay. I asked because we just announced that we're hosting an after party for the first time.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and that looks like it's going to be a good time.
Too bad you guys aren't doing the Las Vegas show. We got a Las Vegas convention in a couple of weeks.
We did it last year, and I really liked it. I think that we just couldn't get enough people on board to get it done in time this year.
Right, and every week for the next couple of months, there's at least 2 to 3 conventions. So you got to pick and choose also.
Yeah. I remember it being a good show, though. So maybe we'll be back next year.
Yeah.
Before we say goodbye to you, Damien Starr in the chat says, "Hey Frank, good to see you. Grief is still hands down the most emotionally gripping book I've ever read. Thanks for writing it."
Wow, high praise. Thank you, Damien.
Yeah, that is really high praise. It is emotionally gripping, that is for sure. Okay, everybody, this has been Frank Gogol, who is writing Dead End Kids. It's going to be in an LCS near you because he's made 1,000 cold calls to LCSs, and it's got to be in an LCS near you. Coming out when, Frank?
It comes out July 24th. If your shop didn't order it, you can order it through your shop. The diamond code is May 19, 1908. And yeah, just tell me you want Dead End Kids.
That's right. Go up to the front counter and say, dude, I want Dead End Kids. Be nudgy about it.
Yeah, and tell them to order more copies. Thousands of copies.
Exactly.
Order all the copies. Just sell this out.
Listen, my only goal, and this is totally a vanity thing, is for this to be SourcePoint Press's highest ordered book to date. And some early conversations with the publisher have me feeling like it could be. So we'll get the initial numbers pretty soon. And then with reorders, we could top it. So go out and order it. Make me famous.
Good. We want that. Best of luck to you. We want you to be famous.
And if there's any store out there who watches the show, or if you want to get this at your local store, you literally have until the 31st, because that's the FOC, which is the final order cutoff for stores, for this to get this ordered. I mean, you can order it anytime, but if you want to get it on July 24th. So this is coming out is this debuting at San Diego then?
It'll be like 2 weeks after.
2 weeks after San Diego?
We'll probably maybe have advanced copies of number one or variant for San Diego or something like that. We're having conversations still.
Okay.
And SourcePoint Press isn't a FOC publisher, so you can order this pretty much until it's out of print. The print run will be based on the order numbers, and then plus some amount more above that for reorders. But you can order it until it's gone.
Yeah, but if you want to get it like the day of or the day that it comes out in stores, make sure I'm giving everybody a time. I'm giving everybody a deadline here. May 31st. May 31st is your deadline.
I hope not. I'm just kidding.
Just get those. That's your FOC orders. Those are the numbers you want to see build up as quick as possible, right? So
yeah, let's
do it.
All right, Frank. Thank you for joining us. This has been great.
Thank you for having me on again, and keep doing this awesome work. I love watching you guys. I always catch it later, but yeah, keep it up.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate
it. Good to know you're a viewer. We appreciate it.
All right, guys,
thanks, man. Take care.
All right, so is that it for us? Are we done? Are we going to do some news? We want to hang out? We're going to bullshit?
I want to hear hungover Luis do some news.
Oh God. Okay, give me a second.
Frank, you can stay on, or you can hit the red button up at the top of your Chrome, up the top of your viewer, or you can stay on and listen if you want.
Yeah, I've got a couple minutes. I've got some coffee left. Let's do it.
Luis, is there any news that you want to throw up over?
There isn't really much. Like this week, no, there really wasn't. There wasn't anything really that big this week that came out as far as news. I mean, the first reviews for Swamp Thing started coming out.
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
It's apparently the best thing that DC's put out yet. And
better than Doom Patrol?
Better than Doom Patrol is what the early word of mouth is. Is that it's the first? Well, it's only the review of like the first 2 episodes, I want to say, and so far that they're saying it's pretty much the best thing that they've put out as far as like the DC Universe app thingamajiggy, whatever you want to call it. It's the best. It's the best show that they've done so far, and it's a rounding success, and it's pure horror. Like that was one of the things that I was kind of concerned about, was how far into horror would they delve into it, and apparently it's a lot of body horror, which is good. I love that stuff, like The Fly and all that stuff. That's my jam.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. That comes out Friday, I think.
The 31st.
Now,
31st.
Is DC a thing like Netflix where you can binge it, or do they come out every week?
Every week.
Okay.
Yeah, every week.
I'm excited. Swamp Thing's what I've been waiting for. I want to see Doom Patrol, but Swamp Thing's what I've really been waiting for to do this app. I don't need. I mean, for those of you who want 10 million comics online free, I think that's great, and it's a good part of the app. But I want these TV shows to be really good, and that's why I would do the app.
Yes. Obviously, the big thing this week in comics was, remember how we were talking about, well, Tom King, it sounds like he might be off of Batman and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
well,
this is kind of big.
Technically, it is true. Tom King is off of Batman. However, he is jumping off of Batman to do Batman and Catwoman title. It's going to be in 2020. DC has confirmed that Tom King's upcoming departure from the core Batman title, but revealed that his Dark Knight stories will continue in a 12-issue Batman Catwoman series drawn by Clayman that is scheduled to debut in January 2020. I think this is a good fit, man. I think King. I've been hot and cold with King's Batman run. Jess, I know you love it, but like Tom King says, I think we're in the early stages of Alzheimer's. So.
How dare you?
Hey, that was Tom King, not me. That was Tom King.
Oh, come on.
It was from him.
Ah,
I say that with love, Jess.
I know you do.
So, yeah, so I think that this is a stronger suit for King, who I think he's a much better 12-issue like series and done kind of writer, at least from what we've seen so far. I'm looking forward to this. And this is so he's gonna stop writing after issue
85.
Yeah, 85. So we don't know who we're gonna get. I mean, the obvious choice is Bendis. That's the obvious choice for who would take over that Batman run right after he leaves. It's probably gonna be Bendis, but I think that there's also a lot of you could get Tinian on there. There's a bunch of other good writers too that I think could take over the mantle of Batman.
Here's my question: with Tom King, did he jump or was he pushed?
Neither.
What does that mean?
What it means is that I think this is planned out from. I think this has been planned out a long time ago. This isn't just something where he wanted to leave or they kicked him off.
Okay.
Because to be able to schedule, put together, organize, I'm sure Frank could agree to this, to be able to put together and organize a 12-issue miniseries like this, it just doesn't happen overnight.
Okay.
So I think this is all like a marketing scheme. I think the whole leak through Bleeding Cool was just a marketing ploy to get a lot of attention on the Cat and Bat story. Because this isn't just something that just happened overnight. Like this isn't like how they try to make it out to be. Where like something happened at a convention and now Tom King is off of Batman. What's going to happen next? And then all of a sudden, you have a cover and a schedule for a 12-issue miniseries and Clayman's on board. Like this had to have been planned out for a long time. So I think everybody got suckered. Anybody that got kind of triggered or got really deep into the minutia of why this happened, I think just got duped. This is all just a marketing scam, I think.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No?
What are your thoughts, Frank?
The sales on the book are not unhealthy, but they're definitely lower than what Batman should be selling.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
I think this is like a compromise. Like they want to let him see his vision out, but in a little contained thing that doesn't have to necessarily sell well. And it was pretty easy to transfer it over. He was shooting for 100 issues. He's going to get like 97 now total. And they just took those last 15 issues and put them into this maxi series. But I also think there's some stuff with AT&T now that they've taken over Time Warner. And they didn't. He was talking about making some major changes to the character. And I think that they got cold feet. And
interesting.
Yeah, everyone seems pretty amicable about it, so that's why I'm thinking it's a compromise. Like he seems still pretty grateful about the whole thing, but it does seem a little slapdash.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I agree with Frank on this. Like the book, it's not terrible sales wise, and this is all just speculation that I've been reading online. But it's not Batman. It's not what you would expect from a Batman run, is what I've been reading online sales wise, and it's not burning the DC offices. Like again, let's go back. Like the Snyder New 52 Batman book. Like that was almost all the way through up until you got to, if I remember right, the
super heavy arc.
Yeah, the Mr. Bloom stuff or whatever it was, where he was nearing his run, where it started to dip. But the sales, they're not terrible, but they're not Batman.
They're like 30,000 under where they should be, but they're still over 100K.
Yeah.
Holy smoke! Are you telling me these corporate dipshits from AT&T are actually sticking their noses into the comic book business?
I mean,
that's what happened with the Batman Damned.
You gotta protect the IP, man.
Oh boy,
that's part of the reason I like indie comics better now. It's just like you can have characters change. Like look at Black Science, or Deadly Class. Like I mean, these characters are allowed to like evolve and change and die and have it be permanent. Like there's You get something else when you sign up for superhero comics. And
Yeah.
you have to sort of accept it.
Yeah, the
Oh
day
my
that
God.
Batman Damned came out and that big controversy with the dick happened was literally, I think, the day that they got a new boss. I think that was about the same time that AT&T took over and DC got a new boss. And the first scene that on that person's first day on the job is all this terrible stuff about Batman's dick showing up on the internet.
One
And
other
then I
thing,
think that steered the course a little bit.
one other thing to consider with this Tom King thing is Tom King, in all of my experiences seeing and talking to him, which are a couple now, he's not a big fan of Dan DiDio, who has made some choices for DC over the years that have been good and bad. Let's be fair about it. But Tom did a book club at my local shop, Comics Experience. It's Brian Hibbs' shop. He's like, like the Jesus of retailers. Like everyone knows.
He's a big advocate for retailers. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's a good guy. He's a bulldog, but he's been very helpful to me too. But Tom came in and he was not shy about how Heroes in Crisis wasn't the book he wanted to write, and he didn't want to do that to Wally, and that all came sort of top down. And so, yeah, I think there may be some butting heads going on there too. That's speculation on my part, but I think there's enough evidence to suggest it for sure.
This is awesome speculation. Why don't you be a guest every Sunday?
You know what? I spend so much time reading comics still and following the news. I'm still such a big fanboy.
That's good.
But now I have like a slightly more in the door look at some of this stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, it kind of ruins it for you.
Now you know how the sausage is made. Yeah, that's how it is working in the comic book store.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, like I whoever takes over Batman, I've been reading King's Batman and enjoying it. Like, it's not the Batman I think most people want, but I think it's a quality Batman. But like, whoever takes over, I'm going to be super resentful about now.
That always happens to Batman. I mean, taking on Batman is it's like anybody getting cast as Batman in a movie. They're always going to get a lot of shit. Like, no one's ever going to be happy.
I honestly hope it is Bendis, because I wasn't going to read his Batman anyway.
I'm in. Dude, if it's Bendis, oh man, I can't wait. I'll be pumped for that. I'm a big Bendis fanboy.
Can't wait for all those scenes of the Bat family eating Chinese food, talking for a whole issue.
Oh man, I'm in. We might actually get a real detective Batman too, though.
But you know what? I'm not going to say Bendis is unqualified. Like, he's definitely one of the best crime writers out there. I'd rather see Warren Ellis on the book.
Oh, I would too. Wouldn't that be great?
Well, it's one of the rumors. Trying to think who else has really good crime books. Nobody.
I just think Ellis would be a out of the box, brilliant choice.
Brubaker on the main title. He's done very little Batman. Gotham Central is sort of a sideways Batman, but
he did. There's Batman by Ed Brubaker. There's 2 volumes of it in trade, but I'll take some more.
Yeah, especially with like a really good artist.
Yeah,
just put Sean Phillips on it.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be on fire.
Stop making cool comics that might not ever happen on the show, Frank. Damn it! I would love to see a Sean Phillips Brubaker Batman now.
That would be insane.
Yeah, but if they're going to try and play it safe, because now they got corporate overlords, it'll probably be somebody like James Tynion or something, because his detective run was amazing, was really good. So I could see him being on it too.
That was one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. This is sort of the problem with superhero comics. But the end result is you get cool little gems like Vision, right? Like, you get these characters that aren't going to sell well anyway, so you can take chances with them. Like the Warren Ellis Moon Knight. Moon Knight doesn't sell. Like, they keep trying, but that character, it just doesn't have traction. But you can do something cool, like tell like a bunch of one shots that are all just super boring.
Yeah, all the best superhero books are the ones, to me, are ones that were kind of under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize, and the creators even say that this is cool because nobody cared what we did, so we just kept doing what we wanted to do. Things like Vision or Runaways, and that was first coming out. Miracle Man. These characters that nobody cares about, but then you end up getting like really great stuff out of it. Next Wave. Think about Next Wave. That's a book nobody really talks about till now, but is one of the best Warren Ellis books to come out in a long, long time too.
Okay. And it makes me wonder, like, what could you do with like a top tier character when you go indie, like into, but you know, you can bite you in the ass too, because then you could get, you know, Parker Industries Spider-Man, which was a cool idea, making Spider-Man and Iron Man. Like, it had its moments, but it strayed too far away from what too many people expected.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a fine line to walk. So like this Batman, I think, strays a little too far from what people are looking for in Batman. It's a little too sort of cerebral and sort of thematic for like, you know, a Batman.
I loved it. I love it still.
I really like it a lot too. I think Tom is one of the most technically talented writers for making comics. Like he really, like, listening to him talk about the 9-panel layout is just, the guy's a genius. But it's not necessarily, you know, there are people who want Francis Ford Coppola and there are people who want Michael Bay, and it just seems like there are more there seems like there are more people who want Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. What a great analogy. What else? Do you read anything else currently?
Me?
Frank?
Yeah, I read pretty much everything that Marvel and DC put out that's like not obscure.
What else do you like that's being printed right now?
Right now, I'm really enjoying, not a lot, honestly. Like, which is too bad. Most of the stuff I'm enjoying are Ninja Turtles from IDW is consistently good and always has been. I really look forward to that every month. Power Ranger stuff that Boom has been doing has been excellent. I've been on board with that since day one. Those are probably the two books I look forward to most. I've got my eye on Buffy over at Boom. I'm having my first moments where I'm like, yeah, that's not my something. Like I really was invested in the old Buffy continuity. So like this new take is a little, it's not a book written for me, and I recognize that. So I'm still able to find some enjoyment in it. But I'm hoping it, like, you know, captures me a little more than it is. At Marvel, I was enjoying West Coast Avengers. I thought that was like a fun indie book, you know, having the sort of reality TV format to it. Like that was pretty bold. Hawkeye before that, also by Kelly Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I've been enjoying Batman. I've really been enjoying Snyder's Justice League. And I know that not a lot of people have been, but I think, like, yeah, he's doing his best Grant Morrison impression, and it's working for the most part. Yeah, I mean, like, I just want to, anything that's trying anything sort of new and fresh over at the big two is probably interesting to me. I've seen enough Hydra stories, enough Hand stories, and enough AIM stories, and, yeah, enough Doctor Doom stories. Like, anyone who's just doing anything a little bit boldly.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, that's something that we're missing a lot of these days. Is just it's new, you know. And again, it might be because we might be a little too much into it and been into it for too long. But yeah, we're just always looking for that new take on something familiar, as opposed to the same thing over and over again, which is a problem with superhero books.
Yeah, no, 100%. A lot of the Image books that I enjoy are sort of winding down now, like Black Science and Low and East of West. I am super excited for Hickman's X-Men. I've never been a big X-Men fan, but I love Hickman. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where he takes it. Because he's sort of like the hard sci-fi version of Grant Morrison that, you know, Marvel's had their hands on for the last 10 years, you know, on and off. And he's really good at revamping franchises. Like his Fantastic Four is fantastic because it wasn't Fantastic Four. It was the next version of it, the new fresh take on it. So I'm hoping he can do that for X-Men. I haven't really been too interested in X-Men since New X-Men, and maybe Astonishing when Joss Whedon was on it. That's not to say it's all been bad, but it's definitely been uncaptivating for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have their hopes pretty high for Hickman's X-Men.
Yeah, and I like what Rosenberg has been doing. Like, it's not the best X-Men book, but it's definitely like a very Matt Rosenberg take on the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know some of the choices have been controversial, but I think that he's very passionate about it, and I can see that on the page, and that means a lot to me as a creator.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
What's up?
What?
Do you like Star Trek?
I love Star Trek.
Did you see the Picard trailer? What'd you think?
I thought it was fine. It was like a teaser sort of thing, right?
Is he in wine country now? Is that the deal?
He's his family was always in the wine business. That's what his family was in. They grew grapes. He has an older brother who has to be dead at this point. He had an older brother that he would go back and visit sometime who would look down upon him because he joined Starfleet. But yeah, the family business was in the vineyards.
So you're looking forward to the new show? Because that was just released this week. The trailer for the new Star Trek show, Picard, is coming back. Dude's like in his 70s, and he's still doing work, which is impressive.
And he's got a young wife.
He does. I found out this week too. Fucking bastard. Living the dream. He has a young kid too, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's like Mick Jagger, baby.
Oh my gosh. No, but at this point, we all know that the only thing running Mick Jagger's body is pure cocaine.
Yeah. I don't know if it's cocaine or maybe a mixture of pain pills and heroin and maybe cough syrup. I think he's got some good cough syrup in there too.
That's like a Flaming Mo recipe.
Flaming Mo, yeah, he's drinking Flaming Mo's.
Even my heart beating at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I am excited for Picard, and that reminds me that I need to watch the other Star Trek show. What is it? Destiny? Not
Discovery?
Destiny. Discovery. Yeah. I will be. That's on the docket for. I am going to be getting hernia surgery in the middle of June, and I think I'm going to binge it then, because I'm supposed. That's minor surgery at this point in the medical profession, but you're still supposed to rest after it. So that's when I'm going to binge that Discovery.
Cool.
Yeah.
French wine with an English accent.
Dang,
French wine with an English accent. Yeah, and his brother had the weirdest accent. I mean, his brother had some kind of French English mouthful of cotton accent. It was a very weird accent when you heard it. Yeah, it was very odd. Yeah, so I love Discovery, so I need to catch up on it, and I'm looking forward to Picard. That's a big deal to me.
By the way, don't go see Brightburn.
That sucks.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Wow.
No, not horrible. It's wasted potential, is what.
Yeah,
it is.
we've been really looking forward to that movie.
Yeah, it's mostly just wasted potential.
Damn it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
okay.
really hoping it was a lot better than what it was going to be. It's wasted potential overall.
I went to go see Avengers again last night.
Ooh.
Yeah. I love
Trying
it.
to
This is my second time seeing it, so I finally got to see it and not, I was able to kind of take everything in. No, it's great. Still a great movie. Waiting for that thing to finally beat out Avatar in foreign and domestic box office. So
I don't think it's going to do
Another week, maybe.
it's close. It should be doing it. I mean, again, it took
How close
Avatar
is it?
like a year in theaters, and they re-released it and stuff like that. Yeah.
How close is it monetarily? Do we know?
Like 120 million off right now.
Huh.
It's going to be close.
They should just re-release Infinity War and Endgame as like a double feature, and then really
Ooh.
take it over.
That's a good idea. I'd go see that.
In
I
IMAX.
saw a movie in one day.
Hey man, people watch all 22 movies before Endgame came out, so I'm sure people will have no problem watching the two biggest event movies ever back to back.
Yeah, once I get that Disney Channel, I'm going to finally see the Hulk movie.
You haven't seen a Hulk movie yet? The Edward Norton?
The Edward Norton one. No, I never saw it.
Oh wow.
That's
good.
the only Marvel movie I haven't seen.
If you get a chance, watch those old classic Hulk TV shows with Lou Ferrigno. There's an episode where Daredevil is his lawyer.
Yeah.
I remember watching those when I was little.
Yeah,
Not
I
little.
saw those.
I was a teenager, I think.
Trial of the Incredible Hulk. I remember that.
Yeah.
There's one with Thor too, isn't there? Like a really
There's one with Thor. Yeah.
like a Walmart Thor.
Yeah, it's very much a Party City kind of costume. Yeah.
So Brightburn writers are working on an unannounced DC Vertigo film. Any guesses?
I was hoping for
guessed,
Transmet.
what was it that I guessed? American Vampire. That's what I want to see.
I think that's the best choice. I think that's the best pick.
Do we want them to do anything since Brightburn was so bad?
No, I don't want them to do anything.
Yeah, you're the one that was looking forward to this the most, so you're the most disappointed.
It was like it was my top 3 most anticipated, and it's okay at best, but it's
You
just
saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you saw it.
It's wasted potential. Is the best.
Isn't it James Gunn's brothers?
Cousins and brothers, like extended family that they worked on it. James Gunn's name is on it, but it seems like it was more of a favor because I can't imagine, especially with because I've seen all James Gunn's films, and I can't imagine with the James Gunn stuff that he contributed. Yeah, he contributed to this because.
All right, well, I'll say $15.
Save your money. Save your money is all. Go
Pikachu.
Go see John Wick 3.
I have to watch John Wick 2.
Go see that, or save up and go see Godzilla this weekend, which looks
so excited for Godzilla.
Oh, it looks incredible.
Yeah, but I hope I just want to see a Transmet movie happen. Honestly, I'd rather see it be more like a Netflix series. Like I think it should be more of a episodic
TV show.
Yeah, it should be more episodic. But you know, when you think of Vertigo, like DC Vertigo books, there's really not much out there that hasn't already been kind of talked about. But Transmet's never been talked about in form of like live action film adaptations.
I have not yet read Transmetropolitan, but somebody once described it to me as the story of Alan Moore becoming Grant Morrison, or the other way around. Is that accurate?
That's odd. It's really Hunter S. Thompson, like 5,000 years in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically Fear and Loathing. If Fear and Loathing happened, mainly if Fear and Loathing happened today with a little bit more advanced technology.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really just more of a cyberpunk version of Fear and Loathing. A lot of drug use, a lot of it's political, and it touches on a lot of topics that are really relevant today. But at the same time, it's probably one of the better books out there ever. It's my favorite all-time series.
Oh wow, that's high praise.
Yeah, so yeah, you need to check it out, man. You're missing out.
Yeah, I got they just started doing the thicker trades of it through DC. So once I have all 5 or 4 or whatever it's going to be, I'll burn through it. I'm reading Sandman for the first time now. Whew. It's a slog.
Yeah,
a slog? Really?
I'm enjoying it, but it's dense. Like,
it is dense. Yeah,
I can only read one issue at a time.
Yeah, you have to shut off the rest of the world. Like I would have to like rent out a hotel room and read it because I can't, you can't read it with kids running around or any other kind of side distractions or anything like that. So
Sandman is brilliant, but not an easy read.
No.
I have to alternate it with issues of American Vampire, which I'm reading at the same time.
That is a great book.
It's fun. I wish you would finish it.
I need to get that omnibus.
Unbeatable Squirrel Girl is ending at issue 50. Sorry, Jess.
Good riddance.
Well, I thought Jess was in that book. Oh no, it's a Gwenpool that you love so much.
Gwenpool, I love. Yeah.
Gwenpool's getting a miniseries though.
Yeah. I can't wait for the Gwenpool miniseries. But,
that's written by Leah Williams, right?
Yeah, good for her. I can't wait to read that. Tyler Blunt and I had an argument about Squirrel Girl, and he's going to come up here during the summer, I think, and we're going to have a pie fight over it because he loves Squirrel Girl and I hate it. And so we're going to have a dueling pie fight at 2 paces away from each other and smush fruit pies in each other's faces.
Well, you got to film that if it happens.
Yeah, Fariha is going to film it.
Nice.
Jess, I don't have a horse in the Squirrel Girl game. She's just not for me. But like I said earlier, I'm up in my fiance's office, and I just noticed beside me, taped to the wall, is a legal pad piece of paper with a list of comics that she needs to read, and Squirrel Girl is number 2 on it.
You should go scratch that out.
What's number 1?
I don't know that they're in any order. I think it's just a list. But at the top of the list is a book called Bee and Puppy Cat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
We got Spider-Girl, Jessica Jones,
Yep.
Moon Girl, Mockingbird, Captain Marvel. I'm sensing a trend here.
Mockingbird's great.
Some of these I've read. She's got Jason Aaron Thor on here.
That's good.
Sex Criminals, Saga, Paper
Yep.
Girls, Pretty Deadly, Action Philosophers, Little Fred Van Lente. That's a good one. New Miss Marvel.
That's great.
Comic-Con. Giant Days, Monstrous.
Both of those are great. Monstrous is awesome.
Kim Reaper. I dig that. Hench Girl, Hellcat. I mean, this is a long list.
You should go over there and write Transmetropolitan on that list.
Yeah, scratch out Squirrel Girl and put Transmat.
Okay. Get right on that. And then when I don't have a wedding in September, I'm gonna review.
Just right next to it, Jess says this is awful. Don't scratch it out. Just say Jess says this is awful. And she'll go, who the hell's Jess? And who does he think he is?
What's
right? If you really want to damage your wedding, write the cross on that list.
Oh boy.
The cross.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
What didn't you like about Squirrel Girl, Jess?
What didn't I like?
Yeah.
I just thought it was boring. It didn't go anywhere. I thought the humor fell flat. I thought the concept was dull. It just I didn't think it was funny. I didn't think it didn't go anywhere for me. It didn't hold my interest at all. And I mean, I got the oversized hardcover, all excited for book 1, and by the middle of it, I thought, this thing is dross, man. This is boring. It didn't go anywhere. Her personality was grating. I just found it dull and uninspiring.
So, Outcast or Squirrel Girl? If you had to choose one, gun to your head.
Oh, fuck. Gun to my head?
Gun to your dog's head.
Oh, don't bring my dog into this. She hasn't done anything.
Outcast or Squirrel Girl?
We have clearly spent too much time together for you to throw that in my face. Outcast.
Wow.
And the Squirrel Girl has been going. It's been going on for a while. It's surprising because every time we get a new issue in, because we get it. I think we only order it for like the 1 or 2 people that have it on their pull list or whatever. But it's like issue 40. Like it's a high number like book.
Yeah, it's popular.
Which is strange.
Yeah, there's lots of people that like it.
Like I said, Michael Bay, Francis Ford Coppola. Different.
That's a good point.
No, my girlfriend loves it, or my fiance. And I think it's not a book that's written for the people who are in this conversation, probably, or at least most. But it does have a very real audience, and those are the same kind of people who might be reading Oni books. You know, the market's changing.
I need to order less Squirrel Girl and more Dead End Kids on my next order.
Yeah, there you go.
That's fine. I feel like it's a book for everyone.
It's on my FOC next week, so you know I'll be making some adjustments.
Suddenly, I think Squirrel Girl sucks. Don't order that.
Less Batman, more Dead End Kids.
Yeah. Just replace every Bendis book on your order with the Dead End Kids too.
Oh man, then you're going to see a huge tick up on your orders, man.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, Michael Bay. If you like it, that's great. Like there's a lot of Bendis books I really do enjoy. Like I loved Alias, the classic. Goldfish, What was the other one? That was it. Burn. But no, I mean he's an excellent crime writer. It's when he stops writing crime that I like him a little bit less. Like I'm not digging the Superman very much.
Freddie Alonso in the chat says, "Squirrel Girl broke up my wedding" is a great story, though.
Whew, the return on that story is not worth the loss.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not going to find another fiance who will put up with this Comic Con schedule and
No, that's true.
all this nonsense.
Yeah, it's hard to find somebody that's going to let you spend all your weekends across the country and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In hotels with other women. Sometimes. Yeah. No, Squirrel's great. I'm just kidding. And Bendis is great too.
What?
When he's great.
Did your girlfriend just walk in or something?
She's got a gun in her head right now. You said Outcast sucks. Squirrel Girl is the shit.
Squirrel Girl is shit.
I'm just reading script now.
Speaking of really shitty comics, Napoleon Dynamite sequel comes to comic books pretty soon.
Shut your whore mouth.
You go away with that. How dare you?
Do not ever say that again. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Yeah.
This is going to be 4 issues. 2004's cult hit Napoleon Dynamite will get a sequel in the form of an IDW comic book limited series. The Hollywood Reporter first reported. Launching in September, the 4-issue Napoleon Dynamite picks up right after the events of the film, where Pedro's reign as student body president threatened. Okay, this doesn't matter. Carlos Guzman Verdu and Alejandro Verdu, co-creators of Time Cheetah, never heard of them, will write with Adventure Time's Jorge Monlongo on art. The debut issue features cover art by Sarah Richard, as well as variant covers featuring artwork from Monlongo and a photo from the film. There you go, Jess.
I don't need to read that comic book. I already have the perfect film on DVD in my house that I watch all the time and love it.
Yep.
Yes.
And they already did a TV series that I don't think was
the cartoon show was great. It was all the original voice actors.
Oh, really? I haven't seen any of it.
Oh, it was on Fox. It was great.
I don't know.
It was a cartoon show?
Yeah, it was a Fox show that was on, gosh, probably 5 years ago. And one of the episodes was the mayor gets sick and can't preside over the town. The vice mayor gets sick and can't. And so Pedro ends up running the town as student body president.
That's awesome.
He's like third in line, and it's hilarious. I love the whole thing. Every actor from the show is on the TV show. I need to find out if that's on DVD or is streaming somewhere. It was really funny, despite Luis's lack of sense of humor and or taste. It is great.
Okay.
And I know Gio doesn't like it either.
Oh, Napoleon Dynamite, I think one of the greatest things that ever happened.
Oh, Freddie Alonso says it's on Hulu. Cool. Thank you, Freddie.
I'm going to write a very strongly worded letter to Hulu.
I'm gonna have to watch that on Hulu pretty soon. Then.
Yeah, Gabe, you'd love it. It's really funny.
I'm in.
Well, the animated series DVD is only $14 if you're interested.
That's not bad.
Oh,
the only thing better than Napoleon Dynamite is The Matrix. Like those are the greatest movies to come out of our country in the last 20 years.
I am not going to argue with that.
I honestly think it's just the time that I grew up in because every idiot in my school was quoting that movie when it first came out, and I just got tired of it. By the time I saw it, I was like, I don't fucking get this. I don't understand. I get it. I understand. It got drilled into my head so much from everybody in the school. By the time I watched it, I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters, and just the moment, the opening scene where he gets on the bus and he just throws the action figure out the window on the string. I was like, this is my kind of movie.
I could see where, as Ryley says, it's divisive. That's how Ryley pronounces that. It's divisive. Well, you actually had a lot of news this week. You got any more?
No, that's it, man. We're gonna.
How about how terrible the Hellboy movie was, but yet it's getting a Netflix series apparently.
Oh yeah, well, that's just rumor and speculation. That's going to be a while, I think, before we
they're
actually
gonna
get
let that sit down and cool down.
it's going to be that's not going to be for another few
They're
years.
gonna have to let that herpes of the Hellboy movie kind of go away for a little bit.
Yeah,
Before the next outbreak comes out.
well, they're gonna let that fade out of people's memories, which shouldn't be too much longer than now, considering the film was pulled after like 2 weeks in most theaters.
Was it ever in people's memories?
No,
Considering like 10 people saw it. Yeah.
no, it did horrible.
Point.
I think what was the total gross on? I think I read like the total gross was something pathetic, like 40 million, 50 million.
Oh, was it that much?
Check.
It was
Was it that much?
bomb. It was a
Let me
bomb.
check.
I have Box Office Mojo open right now. 60 million.
Yeah, and they spent over like 100 million on this, so it was a bomb.
Oh, I'm shocked. I thought it did like 25 million.
No, this.
That was opening weekend was 25.
Yeah, it did
Oh,
terrible.
okay.
The budget was 50 million, and it's made 40 million.
But worldwide, it hit almost 100 million, which means it lost 100 million.
Yeah, exactly.
So this thing was a bomb. Yeah, so I imagine that we won't be seeing Hellboy on the silver screen or on any screen for a while. I think if they do kind of rush into something next, it'll probably just be BPRD, and they'll just call it BPRD, and they'll stay away from Hellboy and maybe focus on more of the side characters on Netflix, like Abe Sapien and things like that. I can see them going that route. But if they want to do Hellboy proper, it's going to be a few years. I don't see them doing anything like that for another few years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That movie, man. That movie had so much bullshit going on backstage when they were filming it. It's crazy.
It had like 16 writers.
I am genuine. I'm looking forward to the documentary in like 10, 12 years when they go behind the scenes to actually figure out what the fuck actually happened with this film and the making of it.
Oh, I think it happened sooner than that.
Oh, the doc?
Yeah, I think that'll be in 3 to 5 years.
I think the apology documentary will come out before the movie comes out on DVD.
Isn't that the movie where was it the director that left for 6 weeks to have an affair or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to already have started, that documentary.
Yeah.
That's so juicy. That's got to already have started.
That's like Josh Trank's Fantastic Four controversies.
Yeah. That movie was produced by 8 different people, right?
Yeah. And so, everybody had a piece of their hand in the pie.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. Mike actually went on record saying, I had nothing to do with this. Like he didn't have anything to do with it. He sold the rights off the Hellboy to the studio years ago. So yeah, that's what you get. Keep your IPs if you can. Keep them as best as you can.
You hear that, Frank?
Yeah, no, 100%.
When Dead End Kids, somebody comes to you with a fat check to make the movie, and it's a director that's gone off to have an affair for 6 weeks in the middle of a movie. Be careful.
Listen,
all right, I gotta go back to what I said. I was wrong. I was looking at the wrong Hellboy. This Hellboy made almost 22 million off of its 50 million budget.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And there was no foreign release, apparently, it looks like. So
I'm gonna do the Bendis. He sold the rights to Powers like 7 times for like $40K a pop. It didn't get made. And then it finally did get made. It was bad.
Yeah, that was bad. That was like Sony's initial launch of their streaming service, and oh god, that was nothing at all like the comic book Powers at all.
But he made like $300K selling the rights and doing nothing else. Just
good for him.
Sit on it and do nothing for years and years and years. That's what I want.
Let my IP be in production limbo for 20 years. You know?
I'll write another book. I'll do a movie. Give me the money now.
And Mila Jovovich came out defending it, saying, "Oh, this is destined to be a cult classic. Like all my films, are being good." Just stop.
What, like
Resident Evil?
Like what? Resident Evil crap? Yeah.
Yeah, no, she listed Resident Evil as a cult classic.
It's a very small cult.
Very cult.
Yeah.
Well, I think the only cult classic she has would probably be like what, Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Garbage.
I called it. I fucking called it the minute she was cast. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
she's death. I knew the film was going to be horrible the minute she was cast.
Yeah, you were right.
Yeah, I'm reading online, and it says that Lionsgate has officially pulled the plug just 5 weeks at the domestic box office.
Oh, you look at. I'm looking
R-rated-
at the. Oh, I'm sorry, Jill. Go for it, Matt.
the R-rated reboot grossed just 21.9 million total after opening with just 12 million on its opening weekend back in April, and the movie had a $50 million budget. So yeah.
So
you-
probably $100 million with marketing.
Right, you double it for
Mhm.
marketing.
Easy, yeah, easily. I mean, I'm looking at the weekly totals. I'm on Box Office Mojo. So like opening weekend, it opened to like 3,000 theaters, and then the next weekend it dropped down to 900 theaters,
Damn.
and then dropped down to 179 theaters.
Oh my goodness.
Where can I go watch it now? Nowhere.
Probably
Nowhere.
some Russian torrent site.
Oh boy.
It made $71,000 last weekend.
Just read the comic books instead. Forget about the movies.
Yeah.
Oh no, what's worse, Green Lantern or Hellboy?
Oh, I think Hellboy's got to be worse.
Oh boy.
Catwoman or Hellboy?
Ooh.
Hellboy, because Catwoman is at least entertaining.
Hellboy.
Yeah, at least you get some TNA.
So we're getting Akira. That's for sure. They've already locked down a release date.
I still think that's going to be stuck in production hell forever.
They got a director. They've got a release date. They've got the go, and they've
This
got
is
the
live action?
live action.
Yeah, but so did the Flash movies.
The only thing that fills me up with hope with this is that Taika is doing this.
No, that's one thing I don't like about it.
Oh man, I love Taika's movies. Taika's so good. I can't wait. I have. He's one of the few directors where in my head I'm like, he could probably pull this off. It's a very big long shot though.
Michael Bay. Hold on.
Hopefully they'll cast Robert Pattinson as Kaneda.
No, you got to cast Asian.
Sure. You mean like they did with the
Ghost
Ghost in the Shell? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a mess.
That's why you have to do it.
Well, I mean, remember the backlash that they got for Hellboy for not casting Asian. So I would imagine that they're going to be at least a little bit aware of this, and you gotta cast at least the two mains Asian. You could go mixed race or whatever it is with some of the others, but the two main has to be Asian. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to do like it's going to be Tokyo, or if it's going to be they're trying to Americanize it and they're going to do
It's going to be like Constantine, where they're going to Americanize it. Watch. I wonder how they're going to cast that old man baby.
I actually liked the Keanu Reeves Constantine. I didn't hate it.
That's a great movie.
I didn't hate that either. I liked it.
It's not a Constantine movie, but it's a good movie.
No, it's not a Constantine movie, but it's pretty good.
Well, let me take this dead air time right now to talk about InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add another 2% to that. Every quarter, there's an Omnibroslive discount code, and I have the feeling it's just around the corner. If you live in the United States, you order $50 or more worth of books, you get free shipping. Can you believe it? I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com.
Boom.
Nice.
There we go.
All right. I'm ready to get out of here. I don't know about you dudes.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm ready for lunch.
Mm-hmm. Same.
It's been fun, guys.
Thanks for being on, Frank. This was great having you be a guest in the news and stuff.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I didn't even know we were recording still, actually. So anything I said bad about Brian Bendit?
Yeah.
That was doctored footage.
Just make sure
Yeah.
you send copies of your book to him too. Next time you see him at a con.
So, Gio, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Well, you can find me on YouTube.
There.
That's A Week in Geekdom, where I talk about. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. A Week
Yeah.
in Geekdom, where I talk about nerd stuff. Just subscribe over there on YouTube.
Luis, where can they find you?
You can find me at the local pub in about an hour. No.
Which one
You
is
can
that?
Hey, man, I'll buy the first round. You can find me at Comics Guide 101 on Facebook and Twitter.
And Gabe, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Gabe Infinity Watch. I'm on the Omnibus Collectors Facebook group. But don't add me to Facebook. I'll delete your ass.
Nice.
And Frank, where can they find you next weekend promoting Dead End Kids?
At Denver, is it Pop Culture Con now? It used to be Denver Comic Con, and I think San Diego sued them, so I think it's Pop Culture Con now. But maybe it's Denver Comic Con still. So I'll be there, and then I'm on Twitter and Instagram at just my name, Frank Gogol, one word. You can add me on Facebook if you're not crazy. That's fine too.
You've been a great guest. This was a lot of fun having you. And I'm Omnidog. You can find me on YouTube on Omnidog's Vault and on Instagram, Omnidogs_Vault. So thank you to the chat, and thank you to Frank for being our guest. Thank you to my co-hosts. And as always, peace and love, peace and love.
Bye, everybody.
Later. Go watch